It's going to slip wet floor. If I fall, I'm going to call a law right now. So thanks for joining us, Michael.
Glad to be here.
We have Frank Mills here. And the law firm is called what now?
Injury Assistance Law Firm.
Injury, that's what it's called?
Yes.
And let me just ask, do you guys have a gimmick? Do you have to have a...
Gimmick? No.
Like, you know how there is, if you fall, I think it's 401 paying?
No gimmick.
No gimmick?
No gimmick. We have a motto. It's called hard work, hard and hustle. That's what we're about.
Hard and hustle.
We put our hard work, our heart, and our hustle to work for our clients.
Work for the clients. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long has this been?
I've had this practice for 8 years, but I've been practicing for over 22 years now.
22 years?
Yeah.
Okay. And you've been, so when you started with this firm, what was the reason you left from the other firms to start your own firm? Okay,
well, I started off doing insurance defense. So for those of you that don't know, that means I was actually representing folks that actually caused the accident and the insurance companies. So like Geico, Nationwide, AIG, 21st Century, all the different insurance companies, I worked for them. I did that for the first 6 years of my career. And it didn't really jive with me well because, as a lawyer for the insurance defense or for the insurance companies, my job was to make sure they paid out as little as possible to somebody that was injured.
So Morgan & Morgan is right. They come on the ear and they say that, hey, these people
are
here.
not in good hands with Allstate. I'll just say that.
He said that. I mean, I've heard that statement. So,
absolutely.
Okay. So you decided now to defend.
I work for people that's been injured at no fault of their own.
Okay.
Yeah. So car accidents, slip and falls, trucking accidents, bicycling accidents, any situation where you get injured and it's not your fault, and there's some money on the other side that we can get for you, that's what we do for you.
Okay, so how do we know it's not our fault? How do we know it's something we can sue for? So I drop right now, I'm in somebody's backyard.
Yeah, I mean, it's potentially something there. It depends on whether or not it's something foreseeable that the homeowner or the property owner knew was there and should have made you aware of so that you wouldn't get yourself injured. So typically, with homeowners type of cases, there's different things that needs to be in place. They definitely should have insurance, but a lot of times folks don't have insurance, especially here in Florida, and that goes for car accidents as well.
So what happened? Let's tell us about Michael. What happened to you to make you decide for the lawyer career?
Oh man, that's a long story. So I'll shorten it. Started with the Cosby Show, actually. Mm-hmm. And so I grew up in St. Croix, and growing up in the islands, and watching these folks on TV, black man and woman, they had a beautiful house, or what I thought was a beautiful house. It had 2 stories, stairs on the inside. Mm-hmm. At home, stairs were on the outside to go up to the 2nd floor. So I just saw that as something that I would aspire to be and have. Mm-hmm. And, I was like, okay, well, there was a lawyer and Dr. Huxtable was a doctor. And so I was like, okay, I'm either going to be a doctor or a lawyer. Fast forward, I realized I wasn't that cool with blood and all that other stuff. So that limited what I could be. So I opted for the lawyer route. And that was like I was around 6. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of stuck to it and kept going and ended up becoming a lawyer.
And MAM stands for what?
Michael Anthony Mills.
Michael Anthony Mills.
Yeah, that's my name. So my firm was originally the law offices of Michael A. Mills. And, I also pledged while I was in college. Mm-hmm. And my frat brothers knew I was an attorney.
And what college?
UCF. I went to UCF for undergrad. And they knew I was an attorney and had known that I probably was practicing for about 12 or so years. And I was at an event that I had sponsored. And one of my frat was like, what kind of law you practice? Because, I need somebody because my daughter just got in a car. Like, bruh, I do personal injury. I've been doing this for 12 years now.
Right.
Oh, I didn't know that. So at that point, I was like, you know what? I was always law offices of Michael A. Mills, your injury assistance law firm. I just went ahead and made that the official name. So it's
Right.
my DBA, it's the injury assistance law firm.
So what makes a good injury case?
A good injury case means you are messed up. So, as it's kind of hard to say, but the more injured you are, the more valuable your case is. So, folks will see the billboards and whatnot, and they see folks smiling with the checks in their hands or whatever the case may be. And typically what they don't realize is that those folks probably have had some sort of surgery, definitely has some permanent injury.
Right.
Because in the state of Florida, you have to have a permanent injury for you to even be able to present a case and go to court.
Right.
So there's a permanency threshold that you have to be able to cross in order to maintain a claim and take it to court.
And what about the time frame? So after you get into, let's say, a car accident, you have how long before you can?
Well, you have a total of 4 years to present a claim, but you want to definitely get treatment, get medical, seen by a medical doctor, a chiro, ortho, some kind of doctor within the 14 days. So you want to go to the hospital at least, because Florida is a no-fault state, and what that means is that no matter whose fault the accident is, your insurance is who pays for your medical bills. And this pays for your medical bills at 80% up to $10,000. So a lot of folks will have the coverage and they get hurt and they're like, oh, I don't want to use my insurance. It's their fault. I didn't cause the accident, and I want to use their insurance to pay my medical bills. But that's not how it works. It doesn't matter whose fault it is. Your insurance is who legally has to pay for your medical bills. What I do is I go after the other person's insurance for bodily injury coverage, which isn't mandatory in the state of Florida. So, I'm going to do a PSA right now and tell everyone that's listening that it is so important that you get what's called uninsured motorist coverage on your policy.
Wait, so that's liability still?
No, bodily injury is liability.
Okay.
What uninsured motorist coverage is the coverage that stands in the place of the bodily injury coverage if the person that caused the accident doesn't have bodily injury coverage or doesn't have enough bodily injury coverage. So the minimum...
The insurance normally asks you if you want that. Because normally they said, all right, you want regular insurance. They don't ask you the additional coverage that you want.
They'll say, do you want full coverage?
Right.
And that's a trap that many people fall into, because they'll come into the office, oh, I'm good, I have full coverage. Full coverage only means that you have the full coverage you need to be driving legally in the state of Florida, which consists of personal injury protection coverage. That's what pays for your medical bills, and property damage. That's what pays for the damage that you do to somebody else's property. That's full coverage in the state of Florida. That doesn't mean that you're fully covered, though. So there's full coverage and you being fully covered. I try to get everybody I know, including my clients, to be fully covered.
Uninsured
Motorist coverage.
Now there's a limit to that, right? Because you can get...
You can get how much ever you want to buy.
Right.
As with any type of coverage. The minimum amount that you can have is $10,000. It's $10,000, and it typically has to match your bodily injury coverage. So you can't have uninsured motorist coverage without having bodily injury coverage. The bodily injury coverage goes to pay if you are at fault for the accident, and uninsured motorist coverage pays you if somebody else is at fault and they either don't have enough coverage or don't have any bodily injury coverage at all.
And so that might hike up your insurance how much more?
It's relatively inexpensive for uninsured motorist coverage, especially when you consider what it covers and what it can actually take care of for you. There's been so many times where folks have come into my office and they were in the hospital, and the person I can think of somebody right now that he was a pedestrian. And no, he was a pedestrian, got hit, broke his legs, was in the hospital for some weeks, and the person that hit him only had $10,000 in bodily injury coverage. What that means is that all that's available is $10,000. So if you have uninsured motorist coverage, whether you're walking, riding a bike, as long as there's a vehicle involved, then you can tap into that uninsured motorist coverage. If that other vehicle is what caused you to get injured, then you could use your uninsured motorist coverage.
So a bad case would be
case,
somebody that you hit that does not have insurance. You're not getting nothing.
right? Yeah, no coverage. There's
Or
no
that somebody
coverage.
that hits you has no coverage.
The person that hits you
It's
doesn't
right.
have any coverage, and you don't have uninsured motorist
Right.
coverage. Then you're kind of out of luck, unfortunately.
So the uninsured motorist coverage helps if that person does not have insurance, you still get to sue your own insurance.
Well, it's not sue. It's the money you're paying
Right.
into.
Yeah, we don't like to say sue unless we actually have to file suit. So you could present a claim to your own insurance and say, let them know, hey, I was injured by this person. They did not have any bodily injury coverage or did not have adequate amount, enough bodily injury coverage to cover me for the injury that they caused. Then what your insurance should do, if they're doing the right thing, is step into the shoes of the at-fault party and cover you for the injury that you suffered as a result.
So you could have liability and uninsured motorist coverage.
Yes.
So you're telling me, Shelley, all this time, right now, you need to look over your policy.
I need to look over my policy.
Because
Do it.
the one thing
Give me a call. I will do that.
The one thing I look for is if somebody hit my car, if they don't have insurance, I'm out of luck.
Right.
Right.
Forget even if I'm hurt, who's gonna fix my car?
Right.
Now, so that's the thing, though. If they have coverage, your car is going to be fixed because the only two mandatory coverages in Florida is PIP, personal injury protection, and property damage. So if they have insurance, they're going to have at least $10,000 in property damage coverage. So you'll have up to $10,000 to get your car fixed. But a car is replaceable. Your body, not so much. So the way I look at it, and it's not just because I'm an attorney, a personal injury attorney.
He's not speaking of this because of the money.
not just for that reason, but things can be replaced.
Right. Sure.
You can buy another car. You can't buy another arm.
Right.
Or another back or neck, or back and neck.
Back and neck. So I think the one thing that we're all trying to, well, no one wants to hit no one, right? So we're not trying to hit anyone. And we're trying to figure out now, how do we sue these big companies, right? Legally. So we go and slip and fall. So let's say we walk into Walmart, we fall in Walmart.
Yes.
Do you look at that situation and say, okay, the person is trying to get money, or they did actually get hurt? Do you send them to the medical doctor field? Do you try to do all before you take it to court?
Okay, so I'll just go through how a personal injury case works.
Okay.
So what's the way I do or handle a personal injury case is it's important for us to build a case and add value to the case. So one, I want to make sure that my client is getting the treatment and care that they need to get back to what's called maximum medical improvement. And they can only do that by going to reputable doctors that's going to take care of them, treat them, and while doing that, make sure they go out and get the diagnostic tests that they need to be able to objectively show that there's an injury.
Right. Okay.
Somebody just saying my back hurt or my neck hurts doesn't really do a whole lot when I'm trying to submit a demand to the insurance company. I have to have tangible proof, objective proof to show this is why they're saying that they're still in pain. And that comes in the form of either x-rays, but primarily by MRI imaging. Because MRIs will show the soft tissue damage that is done as a result of an accident.
Okay.
Folks will just assume, oh well, my arm isn't broken, or I didn't break any bones, I'm okay. Look, some of the worst injuries come in the form of soft tissue injuries, and insurance companies will have you believe that if you just have a soft tissue injury, your case isn't worth much, or it's nothing wrong with you, or because you have minimal damage to your vehicle that you couldn't be injured. Nothing is farther from the truth. All right. Some of my most valuable cases came from accidents where there was minimal damage to the vehicle, and there's different reasons for that. Sometimes it's the fact that there was a hitch in the vehicle, like right below the bumper. So the bumper, that hitch, that steel hitch that's connected to the car, absorbed all of that force, and it didn't cause the bumper to crumble. But as we know from just from basic science, energy doesn't disappear. So if the energy didn't go into the car to cause it to crumble, that energy from the car that hit you, it went into the passengers in the vehicle. Mm-hmm. And so you could look at the car and not really be able to see a whole lot of damage, but the persons or the people in the vehicle are complaining about awful pain in the neck, back, or wherever.
How long do you have before you said 4 years?
Before you file a suit.
Let's say you was in an accident 2 years ago. There's a police record, everything like that. You said you're fine. Everybody says, okay, well, we're okay. When I'm in an accident, I mean fender, maybe.
Fender bender?
Yeah, something's very simple where we think it's simple. All right, we'll just get your license, insurance. We'll go to the insurance, get it fixed.
Right.
3 years down the line, you see your back is hurting you.
Yeah.
Something's happening. Can you retry that again as that? Or the time is...
Yeah, although you still have time there, that's not a case that I would take. Because as I said earlier, in order to build a case, there are certain things that are required. You have to get that treatment. Okay. 3 years passed, there's so many things that could have came up, so many intervening factors, that, as they call it, that could have come up between the time that you say, okay, my back is hurting, and that 3 years ago when the accident initially happened. So how are we going to be, especially if you didn't get any treatment, how are we going to be able to point to that accident that happened 3 years ago? You didn't get any treatment for all these 3 years, and now you're saying my back is hurting, and I think it's because of this accident. It's not really something that we're going to be able to prove, and that's going to be a case where the insurance company is going to definitely deny, and then if we were to file suit on it, what's going to happen is how are we going to be able to prove that you were injured as a result of the accident with no medical records, no diagnostic testing, none of the information that we need to actually build a strong case in order to help you maximize the outcome of your case.
Well, I have a friend. I don't know if she had got a lawsuit. I doubt it. I'm not sure. But her son, a little kid came up, or not a little kid, they in high school, but he stuck a Q-tip in his ear. And then it busted his eardrum, and then he had to have surgery and stuff. Is that a lawsuit?
Okay. Who was it that stuck the Q-tip?
Another student.
Some other kid? Possibly. I would need to have some additional information on that. And reason being is I'd have to know where was the teacher, what type of class was it, because not every injury is a case.
Right.
So we'd have to be able to show that somebody's negligence is what actually caused the injury. So, there's oftentimes that injuries happen, but no one really is negligent. It just happens. So, and especially with kids. Mm-hmm. So,
wouldn't the school be negligent if they allow?
Possibly, but like I said, I need some additional information because is it a situation, a classroom situation where there wasn't a teacher in the classroom, or the teacher wasn't paying attention, the teacher was on her cell phone doing whatever and not doing what she's supposed to be doing? I don't know. So all those things would play into whether or not there's a case there.
So everybody's probably wondering, who's this other handsome guy sitting next to you, right?
This guy right here.
Uh-huh.
This is my brother that has started working with me. His name is Frank. Frank, say hello to the people.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
Frank is now the lead investigator at the firm. So he's responsible for going out and signing up the clients if they can't make it into the office or they just want that personal touch.
Right.
Because we try to make it as convenient as possible for our clients.
So somebody
Frank is there like he
sent a
said it all.
message.
He said it all to me.
Yeah, they says.
So when did you start?
Yeah.
Just recent?
Hold on.
It's about 3 weeks to a month now. I've been working with my brother now. Yes.
Okay. And they normally said you don't miss business with family, or they said, you don't. It's not the saying that you don't involve family into your business.
I've heard that saying.
Right.
I've heard that saying. The good thing about Frank and I is he knows that if he messes up,
he's out of here.
So I mean that was kind of addressed at the forefront.
Gotcha.
He has a need and I have a need, and if you can't trust your family, who can you trust?
True.
So I trust that.
I believe family is
gonna
always a
go
good
out
choice.
and do everything to the best of his ability, and I'm good with that.
So Frank, as being the lead investigator now, so that title to me sounds like you're going out there to make sure that, listen, what you're saying to my brother is true. You are hurt. Yeah, you are.
Well, I have to listen to their accident story and then determine if it's a case for Michael to take on.
Okay. So is there a case that you've run into so far that you said is not good enough, or not? You don't think it's makes sense in you guys to take on that case?
Well, I usually make the decision. Let Mike do the decision. I just bring him the
bring him all the
evidence.
information, and he decides.
He's the boss. Exactly.
What cases right now do you turn down? I mean, I see that anything after 3 years or so, you're looking at no. Yeah.
Right. Cases that I turn down. Any case where the person can't really tell me accurately or succinctly, or their story keeps changing. Those are kind of red flags that I look at. If somebody isn't really hurt, if they don't want to do the treatment protocol of that the doctor is recommending, there's a few things that goes into it. Like I said initially, that treatment is key. All right.
How much you said? 50, at least 60% needed.
As far as treatment, we kind of work in tandem with the doctors.
Okay.
Because it's the records and the documents that they give to us is what we use as ammunition to go do battle with the insurance company. So,
and nobody's getting paid until after.
Well, that's what PIP is. So the doctors do get paid from the personal injury protection coverage. They get paid at 80% up to the $10,000. So we don't get paid as attorneys until the case gets resolved. So I mean that's one of the reasons we have to be really just on point with the cases that we accept.
So how people be saying they get paid millions of dollars? Those commercials, I got millions of dollars.
Those are typically trucking accident cases or commercial accident cases, situations where it's a tractor trailer or a company vehicle that caused an accident, and those commercial policies, they have typically at least $1 million
Insurance policy.
Yeah,
right.
Insurance policy, and depending on how big the company is, they can have 5 million, 10 million. FedEx has 200 million, I believe. So those super big companies, they'll have bigger policies because they have so many vehicles on the road that they have to carry those policies that have the bigger policy limits.
So how long does the case usually take? Yeah.
It depends. Typically anywhere from about 3 to 6 months. depending on the severity of the injury. Obviously, it can take longer. If the person is like really injured to the point where they're going to need surgery, it takes longer. If the policy limits are such that they have, if it's $1 million policy limit, right? In those situations, they have to go through all the treatment before we're going to submit a demand letter to the insurance companies. Reason being is because once the case is settled, the case is settled. Whatever money you have, that's it. So we want to make sure that if they need surgery, they go ahead and get the surgery that they need, because once the case is settled, they're not getting money for that surgery. So you need surgery, go ahead and get the surgery. You need to do the rehab after that surgery, do the rehab. And we want you to do everything that you can possibly do to get back to maximum medical improvement, so that, one, we have all those bills, because those bills add value. That's what we use. We submit the out-of-pocket medical expenses are included in the demand. Depending, again, on the severity of the injury, we may need to get experts to say, well, this person is now going to need a life care plan because their life has been so altered by this injury, now that maybe they need to be in a wheelchair, and now their house has to be retrofitted to be able to have a wheelchair, or they're going to need to do so many different other things. So all that has to come typically before we'll even file a demand or put the case into litigation, and it depends.
Someone also put in the chat here. So asking for regular drivers, the max is up to $2 million. They start off in the procedures. Is that true or not?
Say that one more time.
For regular drivers,
Uh-huh.
the max is up to $2 million. They start off in the procedures. Is that true or not true?
I don't quite understand that question. For
I'm
regular
not sure.
drivers.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what they text us.
Regular drivers would be me and you with a car. But whoever texts in that, restate that again so we understand.
I mean, regular drivers, I'm not sure. I can say, like I said earlier, the standard policies are $10,000 in PIP and $10,000 in property damage. Whether you're regular or you're a millionaire, it depends on what you want to purchase. So you can purchase $250,000 in bodily injury coverage. You can purchase that same amount in uninsured motorist coverage. You can have an excess policy. Myself, I have 4 vehicles. There's a thing that you can do with your uninsured motorist coverage where you can stack your policies. So if you have 3 vehicles or 4 vehicles, you can choose to do stacked or non-stacked. If you stack your policy, then you have, as opposed to $250,000, you now have $1 million in coverage.
They're saying, what's the most that a regular driver, like what's the policy
How
amount?
much ever they want to pay for.
And what's the highest that it goes?
Whichever you want to pay. You can get up to $1 million.
Oh, you could get up to.
Yeah, regular folks can get up to $1 million, and they could get excess coverage as well. I'm a regular folk, and you know, it's just what you want to pay for. Typically, you want to have enough coverage to pay or cover your assets.
Right.
Right. You
Fix
want
back your care.
Yeah, you want to make sure that if you cause somebody some injury, they can't come after you personally. That's what insurance is for. Insurance companies there to indemnify you, protect you. So if you cause somebody injury, I don't want to have $10,000 in coverage, and then they look at my car or whatever the case is and say, I don't want that $10,000. I know he has more than that. I'm gonna go after him personally,
Right.
and try and get it at my assets. I don't want that. So I'm gonna have enough coverage so that I have more coverage than I have assets, so they don't even have an inclination to come after me.
So with that being said, with the amount of money for the coverage, a person has several people in the vehicle. The insurance, the MRI is costing probably $2,000 just that for one person.
Yeah.
So you have multiple people in the car that's injured. whoever caused the accident, one car caused the accident, 5 people is in the car, all of them are injured. I mean, $10,000 runs out right away. What happens at that point?
Okay, very good question. So with PIP, personal injury protection coverage, it's $10,000 per person in the vehicle.
Okay.
For the medical. All right, so that's for your treatment. On the BI side or on the UM side, that $10,000 or $20,000 is split amongst all the people in the vehicle. So medically, each person has up to $10,000 in medical coverage, medical payments that they can get treated for. But on the liability aspect, if the person that hit you has a 10-20 policy, that's how it's kind of broken down. $10,000 to one person and no more than $20,000 for the whole accident. Mm-hmm. And there's 4 people in the car, then typically you're looking at $20,000 split 4 ways. Now, if one person suffered way more injury than the other 3 people, then that person gets an attorney, and typically they'll get the full $10,000, and the other 3 might have to split the remaining 10. So it just depends on.
So that person that was the more injured,
right,
comes to you now.
Yeah.
Forwards to you and said, "Hey, we need more money."
Right.
Right, because now he whatever happened, his leg is
Right.
whatever, something seriously happened to him. How do you take on something like that when knowing the policy is only $10,000, knowing the person really doesn't have that money? I mean, you must do some research knowing that person really doesn't have it like that.
Well, we don't.
What happens?
We don't know
Okay.
until we sign the person up and they become a client, and then we send out letters to the insurance companies to find out what type of coverage is available. And in certain situations, I do what's best for the client, and in other situations, depending on how much is required, and the contract is the contract.
So what happens now when Michael gets an offender bender?
When I get an offender bender,
I represent him.
Stop it!
how about no? No, I mean, it's happened actually. It happened like in 2010. Mm-hmm. They said as an attorney you should never represent yourself.
Uh-huh.
I didn't really listen to that. I did represent myself. It turned out really well for me.
Good.
Yeah.
Meaning you got money?
Absolutely. I mean, come on now.
Stop it!
That's why he's in that nice sports jacket right now.
It was actually, obviously I knew what to do, but I did actually suffer some injury.
Oh.
It was a pretty bad impact. I got pushed into the car in front of me, and I had to go through. I went through the same process that all my clients go through.
So do you tell them on the spot, I'm an injury attorney?
Nah, they don't want to know that. Because honestly, they're not the ones that make the decision. It's the insurance company. So they could be like, I'll and this happens. Oh, I'll just pay you. You don't have to get the insurance companies involved. Look, somebody says that to you, don't take the money.
Right.
You wait for the police to get there.
Unless you ain't got no license.
I mean, even if you don't have a license.
You're going to go to jail instead of taking the money?
I mean, it depends.
You'll be out
on,
in 3 days.
Depends on how bad the accident is.
You'll be out in 3 days. You'll be all right.
Yeah.
So if you get hurt, even if you don't have a license, you can get paid.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It wasn't your fault.
Right.
I mean, it was your fault. You were driving when you probably ought
Yeah, I
not.
thought that would cancel out
No,
you're in a
absolutely.
car with no license, that cancel out anything you need.
No, I've had that case.
I've been in an accident one time. My car was in an accident one time. My car hit another car.
The car
Crash.
was driving itself? Was you had a kid?
Well, someone was driving my car.
Okay.
And they spun out and hit another car. When they hit the other car, the guy that we hit, he said, "You guys okay?" And about 2 minutes later, he just started running down the road.
Oh,
So he didn't want to stay around.
he ran.
He ran down the road on foot.
Jump out of the car, and that's it.
Just kept going because he didn't have a license.
Was it not his car?
It was not his car anymore. He was borrowing the car, but didn't have a license.
Oh.
What happens in that?
situation? The vehicle owner would still be liable.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. And did you call the police?
Yeah, my car hit their car. So,
Oh, you were at fault.
well, the person driving my car was at fault.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But he
Well,
ran.
how come your brother didn't represent you in this?
Well,
This
the
must be
person
before.
This is in St. Croix, so
Yeah.
this is VI at
The
the
person
time.
driving his car was at fault.
Yeah.
So I have somebody else text another question. Well, they have a statement here. It says, "Tell him that insurance companies only offer 10,000, 25,000, 50,000, and 100,000, but each one of those costs higher up, more money correct sold for a $100,000 policy. How much does a person have to really pay for a car insurance at $100,000? A lot of people not gonna do it because it costs too much. Probably be like 5 something them off their here in Florida because they have a high accident rate in Orlando."
Facts. That's absolutely true. I mean, the more coverage you want, the more it's going to cost. So that is correct. But what you also have to contemplate is that, like she also said, there's a lot of accidents in Florida, and what you also need to know is a lot of folks don't have coverage for that very reason. So, do you want to be in a situation where someone hits you and causes you injury or damage, and you don't have there's no recourse for you? So that's why I tell people to get as much as they possibly can afford. All right. So I mean, if you can't afford to get more, then you can't afford it.
Right.
But if you're just doing it because you're trying to save money, you could afford it, but you're just trying to be, save money, then that's on you, because it happens all the time.
So you're saying it's better to have it than to need it and have it.
Exactly. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
It's almost with regular insurance, life insurance,
With everything. Absolutely.
all type of insurance.
Yeah.
But not life insurance. Life insurance is definitely needed eventually.
Well, you should have something.
Yeah.
'Cause, we all will die one day. You need to have something.
Absolutely.
So do you work on death cases also where somebody
Yeah.
died?
We do wrongful death, and it's all on a contingency fee basis. So, and what that means is that unless I get you paid and I get a settlement, I win the case. Unless that happens, you don't owe me anything.
So where did that all start from? Because I didn't ever think that lawyers would work for free. Where did that initial, we will take the case and we'll try to get you some money, and if we do, we're happy?
Honestly speaking, I don't know where it stemmed from. That was how it was, and that's primarily how personal injury cases are
Okay, so it's always
across the nation, and that's primarily because when folks get injured, you just as a standard, you want to give them access to be able to have their day in court or be able to recover for their injuries. And if they had to pay you up front in order to do that, then you would be denying them that ability, because a lot of folks, especially the folks that are going to proceed with litigation, a lot of them aren't in the position to be able to pay you as an attorney your hourly rate.
I'm representing themselves.
And some, like Frank was just saying, some folks will try to do it on their own, do it pro se. And I had a situation like that where a client back in the day, when I had just went out on my own, he had 2 cases. One where his finger got crushed in one of those the self-storage units, the door.
Okay.
And he came to me for that accident because the attorney that he had wasn't taking care of him. And then he told me that he had been in another accident that he was trying to handle on his own against State Farm. And State Farm had offered him $1,500. And it was a pretty decent case. It had been lingering for a while. So, I was, long story short, I was able to get him $15,000 on that same case where they were offering him $1,500.
Okay.
So
there's a big difference.
A huge difference.
Huge difference.
Huge difference. So, most folks don't know what is required add that value to the case. What's needed, what they have to do, the steps they have to go through. Insurance companies just don't turn over the money unless it's a situation where it's completely obvious, like someone died or someone broke a limb and they only have a $10,000 policy. Obviously, they're going to probably tender those limits, right? But then the person have to know what the limits are, or is there uninsured motorist coverage? How does that work? That's where I come in, and that's.
Well, I think one of the things is that we're looking at, okay, if you get hit by one of those those vehicles, trucks or things like, yeah, we figured that we can make money that way.
Right.
But Shelly hits my car. Shelly then puts me in hospital for 6 months or so. I'm out of work, can't do whatever, can't provide for my children.
A lot that goes into it.
All she has is a $10,000 policy.
Right.
I need more than that. What do I do? My friend, I need to, what do I do, sue her?
I
Or
hope
do
you have
sue
uninsured
somewhere?
motorist coverage.
Let's say I didn't. Let's say I had
But I
something
thought that
like,
was also only 10.
It's
20.
Uninsured motorist coverage is how much ever you want. So you pay.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
You choose the amount.
So
of
I
coverage
chose
that you have.
10,000. I chose 10,000. That's all.
In uninsured motorist
that's all I
coverage,
got.
and that's all you get.
So there's no way to get more money from
You
her.
get blood from
Like,
the
can
stone.
he sue? No, but he's saying, can he sue me? What I have, my assets.
Yeah.
And that's what I was talking about earlier. Is if you have only $10,000 in coverage, but you have $100,000 in assets,
He can sue my assets.
he's not going to accept that $10,000
Right.
in coverage. Typically, what is done is an asset check. So your insurance company in a situation like that would offer up the $10,000. Here, take this $10,000. The attorney will do an asset check to see how
That's
much
what we
you
need.
have in assets.
That's what we're looking at here.
But
Okay.
you can put all your assets in LLC, right? That's
Jesus
There's
Christ.
different ways. there are different
would've
ways to
blood
hide
like
your
that.
assets.
right.
Right. So yeah, if your assets are hidden, then they're
And that's what lawyers would go with. That's what you
They
help
still
with. Say,
do the
hey,
search,
you
yeah.
should do this. So what is your fee? If you win a case, how much percent do you
it's a
take?
standard fee, 33 1/3% of whatever amount that I can get for you, and that's if we settle the case without having to go into litigation.
Mm-hmm.
If we go into litigation, it goes up to 40%.
Jesus.
And that's for the first million.
7% more I'm getting.
For the first million?
Yeah.
Oh,
So 40% up to $1 million.
Stop it!
Okay.
And the first one is 33 1/3% up to $1 million. So if we go into litigation only in regards to what's called damages, then it goes back down to 33 1/3%, even though we're in litigation. Now, what damages means is basically the insurance company accepts liability. They say, yes, the accident was our insured's fault, but there's a dispute in regards to what the value of your case or the value of your injuries were. So they accept liability. They say, yes, the injury was our insured's fault, but we don't agree with what you say the damages are. So we file suit. They accept liability in regards to liability, and we move forward with the case only in regards to damages. Then it's 33 1/3% up to $1 million. It goes down to 20% for the second million. No, it goes to 30% for the second million, and then 20% for everything over $2 million. So in Florida, it's kind of different because we have it staggered. In other states, it's just a straight 40%. But in Florida, it's
So
staggered.
they said out of $10,000, 33%.
33 1/3% is $3,333.33. I know that number all day, every day.
Yeah, still make a living somehow, people. Right?
I mean, because it's just not me. It's my staff.
Right.
Staff right there.
Staff. Everything that
The yacht.
goes into. I
mean-
wish not yet. I'm working on it.
So, do you know of any? Do you mind revealing any major cases that you've worked on? That you don't have to give no names, but
Right, I won't
Yeah.
give any names, but I had a case against a taxi company, let's say, where my client suffered a pretty bad injury. She suffered some blindness and some brain injury,
serious accident.
and like a knee. She messed her knee
Jesus.
up, some scarring also, and that was $2.75 million. I've had slip and falls for that's
Walmart?
I can't say the name. 600,000, 750.
Right, okay.
I mean, I have big cases, and what if you guys take anything away from me being here tonight, is that small firms do big work also. So it's not just the Newlands and the that get those cases. The reason why they have so many of those big cases is because they have volumes of those clients going to them. All right, so we get more cases. We can do the same work or better as those big firms, and you get to actually meet your attorney. Imagine that.
So I don't really get to see Morgan. Really, I don't. I never met him.
You tell me. and look, the Morgan & Morgan, they have great attorneys there. I work with some of the attorneys at Morgan & Morgan. Same thing with Newland. I'm not taking anything away from them. I'm just saying that smaller firms also can do really, really good work.
They want to know, is there any negotiation between the 10%, 3%? Is there negotiation?
Your fee.
I don't negotiate my fee. I know some attorneys do. I don't. And the reason being is that when you hire my firm, we go all in. That's the motto: hard work, heart, and hustle. And I'm not going to discount my hard work, my heart, and my hustle. You're gonna be getting really, really good work. You check my reviews; they speak volumes. I'm most folks. I can't say all, but most folks are very happy with the results.
So, Michael, you're married.
I am.
Has that affected like your marriage? You work because you seem like you're working long hours.
It's funny because my wife is my office man.
Oh.
He brings everybody in.
I'm breaking all the rules. I'm breaking all the rules.
And she was always into law?
No. She worked for a court reporting company. And then 8 years ago, when I started this practice, I needed an office manager, and I figured who else better to be working on the books, and I can know that, because that's one of the ways that attorneys get in trouble, where somebody else is working on the books or dealing with the IOTA account, the trust account. And then they start digging into that money. I didn't want that. I want to be able to know that, okay, the person that I have that's dealing with payroll and doing all those things, I can trust them.
And you have kids?
4 kids.
How did your Mother's Day go? What did you give her for Mother's Day?
What did I? We sat by the pool. I made breakfast. I made dinner.
Good.
Breakfast, lunch. What?
Yeah.
With champagne.
Yeah, with champagne, and we just kind of chilled out. That's what she wanted. She didn't want to go out anywhere. She just wanted to just chill out, relax. Because we were in Tallahassee with our son on Saturday. Went up there Thursday night.
He's in FSU?
He's at FAMU.
That was my son.
Oh, really?
Oh no, he's in FSU. You said FAMU.
I went to FSU.
Yeah, you
for law
said
school.
FAMU. Oh, you did?
So yeah, we came back.
What
And
is
I
he
have
taking up?
Would you
I
say
have
that's a
twins.
good school for? You went there for your lawyer.
Florida's. Oh yeah, absolutely. Florida State. That's my law school alma mater, and yeah, it's a
Yeah, he's taking
awesome,
up law
awesome,
too.
awesome.
Well, what is your son taking up?
Business.
Business.
Majoring in business. My twin daughters, they're also looking to go to FAMU right now, tentatively. And I have we have a 29-year-old. He lives in LA.
And what do you
models
say
and things.
kept your marriage so? That's a long time you've been together.
Yeah, we've been together for this year will be 23 years.
Congrats on that.
Together for 7. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20. We've been married for 23 years, been together for 27 years. What kept us together is that she's a very understanding person. Yeah, because I mean, I wasn't the best, but I
I see you keep your ring on. You should give your brother some advice.
Oh yeah.
You never say married on the yard.
He's definitely married.
Look, I've lost like 3 wedding rings already.
But you still make sure you have one on.
Well, yeah, I went a time period without it because she refused to buy me another one. I ended up buying this one because I had lost them all.
Frank, are you married?
I am married.
And why don't you wear your wedding ring?
Because we're...
Let me hear this story now. Let me hear this.
Well, the reason I'm working with my brother right now because I fell in a depression, I'd say, for a couple months. Didn't feel like working, didn't feel like doing anything, and then we kind of separated for a little bit.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, now you're trying to get into pillow talk.
Now you gave me. Now I want to. Now I'm in shock, and I can't even talk anymore. I don't even know what to say.
Family gotta look out for family.
First time I ever I'm at, and I don't even. There's no more jokes, no more nothing that's serious.
I used to cut hair started cutting professionally in '95, so to get depressed and don't feel like working, it was weird. So.
What about? So are you getting counseling and therapy?
No,
that's good to do.
Just separating. I'm just trying to get to know myself for a little bit.
That'll
for myself.
help, Frank.
Yeah.
That would really help you.
Yeah.
Must be really hard. I don't even know what to say. I'm so sorry.
You know what I said.
No, I don't. And she was a really nice lady. I know her.
We still talk. We're still together.
Good.
We're still together, definitely.
So you have any? How about you? How did you celebrate Mother's Day?
I was by myself.
Okay.
I was actually still working for the firm. I had to go to
So Frank's job is we get calls and text messages at all different times of the day and night. And me knowing Frank stays up and he's doing God knows what. And so I was like, bro, I have the perfect position for you. Mm-hmm. You can help me, I can help you, and we can make this thing work. And so that's one of the reasons that he came on board.
Not do anything for my brothers.
Yeah.
That's
If he
good.
needs me, I'm there.
So they also want to know how many accidents can you get in before lawyers start turning you away?
Oh my goodness. Usually after the third one, I start shying away. Mm-hmm. I have clients that have come back to me every single time, and I tell them, look, just because you got a really good settlement that first time, and even maybe that second time, that third time, it's gonna be a little iffy unless it's a situation where it's something that the injury is completely different, and it's something more severe. Mm-hmm. And it's something that we can show, look, it's not just neck and back, or it's not just back. It can't be the same thing all the way every single time, and you go through the same course of treatment and think that you're gonna keep getting bigger and bigger settlements. That's not how it works. So I have to let them know, look, I need you to drive more carefully.
But at this point, you're just giving advice. You're not unless it's something that you know for a fact now. But you think they're prone to injury? You're thinking that something is...
What's funny is that once you've been involved in an accident, you're 30% more likely to be involved in a subsequent accident. Mm-hmm. So, and it happens so many times where, for instance, with the uninsured motorist coverage. So a client comes in, and I represent them, and I'm like, okay, you don't have uninsured motorist coverage. You need to get that. Yeah, I'm gonna get that. And we go through the case. They don't get it during the course of the case. And then a month later, I get another call, and they're like, Mike, you won't believe what just happened. I was involved in another accident. My first question is always, did you get uninsured motorist coverage? And inevitably, they're like, no, see what had happened was. Mm-hmm. And then we have to just hope that the person that hit him has bodily injury coverage.
Oh.
So.
It always goes down to that.
Yes.
Well, so people, in case you're just tuning into Pillow Talk, and it's the first year tuning in right this minute, talking to Michael and Frank from the Injury Associate
Injury Assistance Law Firm. Yes,
and
yes.
so where are you guys? Where is it located at?
I have 2 offices. One is in downtown Orlando area off of Mills and Colonial in that area.
Okay.
It's 823 North Thornton Avenue. And my satellite office is in Winter Haven.
Winter Haven, okay.
Yeah,
So,
that's like Polk County.
so as you get a client in,
Yeah.
and your brother does the investigation, you accepting the case, you go and now speak to the person
Absolutely.
and see wherever they're at the hospital or whatever, right? They get all the documentation. What is the longest trial that you've been on? The longest?
The longest trial is a 7-day trial. And we have a case that has been ongoing for like the last 8 years, believe it or not. And that's a situation where it's a first party case, so it's a hit and run. That's the other reason you need uninsured motorist coverage. Because folks sometimes, and that happens a lot, they'll hit and run, and if you are unable to get their information and you don't have uninsured motorist coverage, there's nothing we can do. But in this particular situation, the person had just bought the policy like a week or so before, a couple weeks before, 3 weeks before, and then subsequently got in a hit and run accident, and the insurance company denied their claim because the policy was a new policy. The accident happened at night, and there were 3 people in the car at that time. And based on that, it's my belief that that's why they denied the policy,
Right.
They denied the coverage. So we've been going through it where we've, had trials and missed trials because of various reasons, and now it's slated for trial again in this June.
8 years it's been going on because
8 years.
is it the insurance company just doesn't want to pay out?
Right. And what's even crazier is that it's a $10,000 uninsured motorist policy. $10,000. Meanwhile, over the 8 years, they've paid their attorney probably hundreds of thousands of dollars. They've paid, I know, hundreds of thousands for the experts that they had to hire, but they won't pay their own insured the $10,000 that he has due. That's why I say the insurance company is not your friend.
So in the very beginning, people, if you're just tuning in right now, Mike said he started off as representing the insurance firm,
Right.
and then he switched because he saw it was they were just doing wrong to the common folk person.
It didn't jive with my
Okay.
personality.
So who? I mean, I know you're not looking out for us, it's black people. I know you're not looking out for them. You're
I
trying.
look out for everybody.
But would you say most of your clients are what race?
Most of my clients are black and
black.
Hispanic.
Black. And is it because of your history? They see you as a black man. They say, okay, he seems trustworthy. He seems like he knows what he's talking about. Do you have something or do you come with something that they can see right away and say, okay, you know what, I can do this. And here's my resume behind it.
I think part of the reasons, some folks feel more comfortable because I'm black if they're black. Some people feel uncomfortable because I'm black. That's happened also. But the majority of the times I think there's so few African Americans attorneys, especially in Florida. I think we make up like 2% of the legal field in Florida, between 2 and 5%. Don't quote me, but no more than 5% in the legal field. So a lot of times they just don't even know we exist unless they do a search specifically for that. So it's up to us, and that's how I look at it. By doing shows like yours, I sponsor events in the community. When I started off, I just did like a grassroots type of marketing where I was doing events, I was doing carnivals, I was doing parties, hosting stuff, just to let folks know that I'm here if they need me. And usually the events that did were either Black or Caribbean, Haitian, and Spanish, and that's tend to patronize my firm, and I'm happy with that. We do get Caucasian or white folks as well, but they're not. We don't get as many of them Black people or Spanish folks.
So they're asking, and I know I've asked this question a million times on other shows, but this is really not me asking this question.
I'm not even gonna sit on. Go ahead.
Do you go on single trips?
Single trips?
Right.
What do you mean by
trips
single
without
trips?
your wife?
Oh, absolutely. Why?
That's what I don't know.
Somebody want to come with me? I'm just checking. I don't know.
The reason why she's bringing it up.
You
I'm
do
gonna
swinging?
No.
Okay, you asking if somebody want to.
The reason she brings it up, she's against it. She's against single trips. She thinks
really?
a man and a woman should only, and this is out of the country where she's referring.
Married
If
men
you're
and
going,
women.
well, married, you should be wanting to go with your significant other to Rome, Italy,
Yo,
the Bahamas,
absolutely. Yeah.
and if he's going for more than, you said 2 days is all right, right? Or just any time out of the country.
And it's definitely out the country. I'm not going without my partner, but 1 or 2 days, maybe if you go into like Miami, maybe.
But Miami's not out of the
I'm
country.
not going. Oh, I'm not going in another state without.
Without you.
Without.
I mean,
So you don't trust your significant other.
it's not. I don't have fun without him. So why would I want to go without him?
See, I have a different belief. I love going on trips with my wife. We go on many trips together. But I think it's also important to have that camaraderie with your friends, your family, like my brothers. And I think you can do both. So you have to. I think in life you have to have balance. So as long as I'm not neglecting my wife and just doing every trip with my homies or my boys or whatever the case may be, and I'm making sure that I'm catering to her as well, then I don't see a problem with it.
There was another question too. This question we had over the weekend. So you have. I don't know if you probably don't have any stepchildren, or you must have dated a woman. Somebody here must have.
My first child, the 29-year-old, is
Okay, good.
She's my.
So-
but I call her my daughter
Right.
because she is. We've
Okay, so
been
that's
together for
perfect.
umpteen
That's
years.
perfect.
Yeah.
And what's your wife's name?
Alicia.
Alicia. Alicia?
Alicia.
So you have to give something. What's your daughter's name?
Antonia.
29-year-old.
Antonia.
So you have to give Antonia.
Yes.
You have to give Antonia something to give to Alicia. Let's say it's a fork,
Okay.
right? Or salt and pepper.
Okay.
When you pass it to her, you're going to say, give it to Alicia? Antonia. Give it to Alicia.
No.
Or give it to what?
Give it to your mama.
That's all I wanted to know.
Why?
You need to give us more explanation with that. You can't understand. We need more. We need
Well,
more.
some people think that because that might not be their child, they're used to saying whatever they call that woman or man. So you would say, give it to Alicia. Anaya?
Antonia.
Antonia. Give
Nia
this-
for short. Nia for short.
Nia, give this to Alicia.
Yeah, no, that sounds weird. I don't even call her Alicia unless we're in a professional setting.
Right.
And
That's
even then,
what I would
it's
say.
hardly ever.
Right. It's awkward.
Plus,
Yeah.
I think.
we're from the Caribbean. We
I mean, maybe
parents
it's
and the
right.
kids, we treat them a certain way. And
Right.
We expect them to talk to us a certain way. So
Yeah, to say the person's name to a child, I think, is awkward.
Yeah. I think because my wife isn't from the Caribbean. She's from Duval. And I think maybe
She might
may
say, give it to Michael.
No, she'll say give it to Mike. And that's because, Nia had, her father was involved. So, it would be,
Well,
it'd be
you're
kind
well,
of
no, but
awkward to
see,
be
that's
like,
the thing.
give it to
I think it's not
your
really
dad.
awkward in that case because you're not her father,
Right.
even though you are.
Right, yeah.
Right. So she's not gonna say give it to
Hold
your
on.
father.
Let me ask you this.
Right.
Was it
Right.
time? All right. Does time matter? Right. So in the very beginning, I don't know nobody. May have no name for call me just name my name, right? So
Right.
Well, you're
possibly
always
thing-
gonna be Ting, or
Yes, but after a while,
you're always gonna be Ting.
me need forbid, if I am there over some time, 10 years pass, I know my daughter this, my daughter
Give it to
my
your
daddy.
stepfather.
No, and dad. Pass to your father.
No, you can't change. You can't. It's,
It would probably
that
still
is
be the same
definitely
name. It'd
hard
probably still
to
be the same name.
change
Yeah.
a name
Yeah.
completely.
No, may I say, all right, when I meet the child, let's say the child is 5 years old. Child know him, no say another father did it, but mom is with this person. No, after time, the child no understands now the situation now. Yes, yes, the child understands there's two people right now. This is really my father, but mom is with this person. So she's gonna call me Ting for the rest of my life.
Okay, well, I guess that'd be for a certain age group, right?
Stepdad.
Let me reach daddy now.
No, but I guess that's for a certain age. At 10, you think that.
What do you mean?
What
Yeah,
about
for-
15?
No, what I say is that no, me put myself as, because, all right, look at it now. We're not talking about physical father, you know. We're talking about respect now.
Right.
Yeah, you can say Mr. whatever. I get that, right? But if you need something now, what am I going to say? What call your father? No, I'm going to say me. So I know become that responsibility.
So you think that they should just start to say dad?
I am saying at some point,
Even at
me
10?
gain that respect now.
At 10, they're gonna just say dad?
No, I mean, I say it work, we work. I say, you know, say you can call me daddy now. I will put that in their ears. You can start call, because I have to accept them. They have to accept me too, right?
What if they
I
already
mean, I'll
have
go
a,
call
but what
them.
if their father is around or their mother is around?
Right.
Yeah.
If the father and mother's around, that remember say the child is living with me.
But they might be living with you, of course, because the mother.
Once the child's living with me, I have
still-
now the guardian, right? So I've gained some respect.
No, you're not the guardian.
I'm a
You
guardian.
have respect, but they'll still probably still
I
call
The
get-
you by
child
your
is
first
only
name.
No, I
living
get-
with
I-
you
I-
because
I
he's
get
living
that.
with the mother.
I get that if the child is 15, I'm following the picture. Them now call me nothing
I
different.
said, what if the father is in the picture?
Hold on, listen.
Or the mother?
I'm saying the child, forget the parent out the door. We're talking about the initial child itself. If I meet the child at 2 years old, at some point, that, the child can look at me as a father,
Right.
right?
You going back to 2 years old, of course.
If I meet the child at 10 years old, I'm not gonna get that because too much time has been embedded in the child's
That's
mind
what I'm saying.
Right.
that I am not the father, so I'll never be. He might say to him friend, "Oh, my stepfather that."
Right.
He might say, "Ray, this and that," but me I go call. I'm gonna be Mr. Whoever, all the days,
Of your life.
all the days of my life, right? All if Daddy was never there, I'll be Mr. all the days.
Well, I think if dad wasn't in the picture or dad isn't in the picture, then it's easier to make that transition. But it can be confusing for the child if, you know, and I'm speaking from personal experience. So with my situation, I got with my wife when my daughter was a year and a half. She wasn't even 2 yet.
Right. That's
And
This is what I say.
yeah, he was still in the picture, and she got to a point where she was in fact calling me a dad or whatever the case is.
How long was that? How many years?
It was probably about 3-4 years,
Okay.
but then went home to her real dad, and they were like, they weren't trying to hear that because
Okay.
real dad was still in the picture. So she came back and was like, back to calling me Mike. And I'm not going to, or at that time I wasn't going to be like, oh, you have to call me dad. She was calling me Mike before. She went back to calling me Mike. It kind of hurt, but it is what it is because I know what I do for her, and she knows what I do for her. And to this day, she still calls me Mike, but she looks at me as her father.
Now,
So
all right. So she calling you that now. What did she call you to the friends? Oh, that's his Mike over there.
no,
Yeah.
she'll be like, that's my dad.
All right.
Yeah.
So the respect has come from something then.
Oh, absolutely.
Not just in my mic over there. So because to you, maybe I understand what you're saying, right? That makes sense. But to the friends, to the people that sees you, yo, me need a title, me need something.
Right.
Me can't have a mic forever.
Yeah, that's mom and dad.
If me forward to Mike
Right.
forever now,
But it
Bridget,
comes
come on,
to
me no
respect.
sense.
If you have respect for the child, if
Yeah,
the child
exactly.
has respect for you, if that's in the picture like that, it should stay like that though.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
'Cause I have 3 step kids also. I mean, but you know, they have respect for me since I met them and everything. I still am considered frank, but you know, they talk to me with respect and everything. It's great. It's cool. For wife's side of the family.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So you're not saying that either. What's your wife's name again?
Jackie?
You're not saying give this to Jackie.
No. No. That's your mother. You know, I'm
Give it to
frank,
your
so,
mother, right.
Yeah.
So I have a question with Mother's Day now.
Yeah.
So when Mother's Day is forward now, do you, I'm going to ask you both you gentlemen, do you call your mom if she's alive and if she's not, I apologize.
Yes, thankfully, yes.
What's that?
Yeah.
She's alive?
Yes.
Your mother's alive? Okay.
I don't know my mom's.
Your mother know, do you call your mother first or your wife?
Well, I wake up next to the wife.
Well, we know that. All right. So if you was away, if you were away.
If I'm away,
Yeah.
You know what? I've never really thought about that. I probably would call my mom.
All right. May I agree with that. See that?
That's a no.
Yeah, I would say nothing more than that.
That is a definite. In my opinion, your wife is your new family. That's your immediate
absolutely.
family.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, nothing's wrong with that. But
That's who you go for.
let me ask you this: Mother's Day is
it's
what?
Not I don't subject like a whole lot of.
Out into
I don't put a whole lot of weight on who I call first,
Right.
as long as I speak to both of them.
So if the wife is like,
And
why did you call me
wifey's
first?
the same way. I mean, she's not gonna trip because I call my mom first. I'm gonna call my mom. We're gonna have a conversation, and then I'm gonna be spending the whole day with the wifey.
Right.
So I don't. Where's the issue?
All right. Who do you call? Well, you know I'm okay. We'll move on. Who would you have?
I'm definitely calling, if I'm married to the father, like I'm calling the father of my kids first. And then my father.
And then your father.
Then fine.
And who you spend more time with that day?
Well, he's saying I'm away. So I
Oh, if
can't
you're-
even spend
oh, if
time
you're
that
away.
day. For some
Okay.
reason, I'm away. I have
okay.
to make a phone call. It's going to be my husband first, then my father.
Yeah.
But it's Father's Day. Huh?
When Father's Day.
But that's still the father of
well,
my
she-
kids.
Yeah, but not your father. No?
Not my
You
father.
call your father. It's Father's Day, so you call your parent first, and then
I mean,
then you wish
I would
you-
guess it would make sense to call my father 1st. The conversation is going to be shorter
Right,
than with my
facts.
husband.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would
'Cause you-
probably, yeah.
Yeah, y'all go into a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
How
So
the kids is doing and
The reason why I'm
Right.
asking that
Yeah.
question, let me reason I'm asking, because I think when you think of Mother's Day and Father's Day, I think is that the parents respect their parents, or the child respect their parent on that day.
Right.
First,
Yeah.
you can have a child with another person, but you become baby daddy,
Right.
right? So you don't have to be the wife, or let's say we don't have any children together.
Right.
You just my wife or whatever, my girlfriend. We have no
And
children together.
you only have one mama.
I only have one opportunity, one person I need to dedicate that, in my opinion.
Right.
So Mother's Day, my mother come first. After that, and if she said, "Thing I need to come over my house," that's where I'm going.
So
Or she said, "Come over."
what about the baby mothers? Are you guys still texting the baby mothers and saying Happy Mother's Day? That you're not with anymore.
Depends on the relationship we have. If that text is gonna come across negatively, or she might believe it's negative, then I would not do it. But if Happy Mother's Day,
How could Happy Mother's Day ever come across negative?
hey, maybe I'm blocked.
There's a reason for everything.
Right? I could be blocked. I don't need it for you. Maybe there's a situation I didn't pay my bill last week, a month or something, where they're upset. Now I'm bringing attention to myself. And then,
Happy Mother's Day. Where my child support at? Why are you talking about Happy Mother's Day?
so if it's like that situation, I'm not texting at all. But if we cool, yeah, you get a text.
Frank, what are you doing? Are you texting Happy Mother's Day?
I'm a Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't celebrate all that.
Oh, really?
Stop it!
Selective Jehovah Witness.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously. That's a good one.
All right, so we're gonna leave mothers. So bless up all the mothers tuning in to Pillow Talk. Happy
Yes.
Mother's Day
Yes.
yesterday.
Happy
Hopefully you
Mother's
got
Day,
something. If
everybody.
it's a mother, hopefully you got something. If it's a bad baby mother, good for you. All right, so we had a conversation
Stop it. Calm down.
years ago. We haven't brought this up. Since we have two lawyers, we're going to ask them what their opinion is. What is the right thing to do?
Okay.
You're driving just in the neighborhood. The police officer pulls you over. You weren't speeding, you weren't doing anything reckless, but you get pulled over anyway. So the question is that what do you do once the police officer comes to the car? He says, driver license, registration. What do you do at that point?
Mace him. No, do not mace him. Well, you know, what I would do,
Yeah.
and this isn't speaking
Not for your law firm
from
or
a
nothing.
from a law firm perspective, is this basically personal experience. If he asked for a driver's license and registration, I would hand him the driver's license and registration and ask him, why are you stopping me, typically? And try and get some information as to why I'm being stopped.
Okay.
But typically, I'll cooperate unless he, and I guess it also comes, it depends on how the cop is approaching you as well, what type of energy, what kind of vibe that person has. Usually, if they stop you for nothing, then you know they about some BS. But you just gotta play it by ear.
I always cooperate.
Cooperate.
Yep, I always cooperate.
All right. So
He has a gun.
if he refuses to give you any information, you just let it go.
If he refuses to give you information, get his name, badge number, and just note that. You can, especially with these days, you can record the interaction with the law enforcement officer also.
Plus, they should have their
They have that's right on their badge.
their thing recording everything. So, well, these are probably one of the few that hasn't been reckless. A lot of people say they're going to ask the question first before they give any information out. Basically, police officer, you need to tell us what you're pulling me over for before I give you any information. But you're thinking that's not the right approach.
I mean, I don't see the need for that unless there is a need for it.
You don't see the need for what?
To be
Have intention and
right. What are you pulling me over for?
But you just said you would ask that.
While he's giving it.
While I'm giving it,
Yeah.
I'd like
Yeah.
to know why is it that you're pulling me over?
I don't know. I have 4 sons, and I tell my sons just give it to them. I think they're
Absolutely,
going to
right.
tell you. You don't need to ask why did you pull me over because he's going to tell you.
yeah.
Well,
You
said-
start to show aggression when you're like, why you pull me over? It's like just shut up and give him what he asked for.
right. Well, he said that you weren't speeding, all your lights were working, and you didn't blow through a stop sign, and the cop pulls you over anyway. So, I mean, I think you're well within your rights to ask, and you don't have to do it with an attitude. You don't want to escalate. What I wouldn't do is escalate a situation from being on a flat level, whereas he's just asking for your license and registration. You're giving it to him, but you still can ask, why am I being stopped? And
Yeah,
you
but-
can do it in such a manner
I've been
that
stopped
it doesn't
plenty of times.
escalate.
In my opinion, especially for my sons that haven't reached a certain age yet, I can't control their tone. So it's like, just keep your mouth closed and just hand them. You don't know how that officer is going to take. You don't know how they're going to say it.
I agree.
So
I mean,
just say nothing.
He said it from his opinion.
from my, what I would tell my son is exactly what you're, because you know my son he's dark skinned, he's tall, and
He wears a hoodie like it.
he wears a hoodie, he got long hair.
Yeah,
and-
that mine too.
Right.
So it's like,
I
just
mean,
say
they all
nothing,
have
just
that
give
hair
them what
for
they
whatever
want.
reason. So yeah, what I would tell him is give the man your license and registration and be quiet.
Be respectful.
Yeah.
I don't want him. I was speaking from my perspective
right.
and how, because I know how I would
Because you
handle
know how you would act, right?
Right. Him, I don't want him doing that because I want him to come home.
Right,
So
right.
And I've been pulled
It-
over
it-
plenty of times, so I know about.
Oh, so you understand.
Yeah, I got pulled over a lot. So
Now, with you from the Virgin Islands, is it different? I mean, I know there's black police officers, is it differently from being pulled over in the United States right now?
He wasn't driving in the VR.
I wasn't driving in the VR, but I've driven Florida, New York, Atlanta. I mean, I've got pulled over more in New York than Florida, but they seen the Florida's plate, but they pull you over for, you can just sit in the parking lot. They'll come up to you and ask you for your registration and all that stuff. I just hand it to them, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm legal now because I did the driving illegally for many years also, so. So now I'm legal, hey, sure, take it,
Mike didn't want that escape, you know.
Hey,
We're going to go back and erase that part.
no, you're good because when he was driving illegally, he couldn't work for me.
Okay, I'm glad you clarified that part.
Now he got his papers. Now he can come on board.
So in Jamaica, it's black police officers. Is black police officers are the military, if we want to call it, pulling people over, right? So everybody have a rifle,
Right.
M6. You are a little bit on edge already. So you definitely cooperating unless you're doing something.
Yeah.
Then that's where that situation will go left.
Yeah, like in the VI in St. Croix. I mean, I've never been pulled over in St. Croix or anything, but it's still real laid back unless you out there doing something that you really shouldn't be doing, and you have to be really doing something that because lights. I've been in Jamaica. What you got? I can't imagine this for like a traffic infraction that y'all getting pulled over.
One example, we just arrived. It was 3 of us. Then the taxi driver was one of our friends. So we leave the airport, reaching a Kingston now, and we get pulled over. So 2 policemen pull us. 2 of them have rifle in their hand. I'm like, oh Lord.
Right.
So we're already intimidated with that situation. Get out the car. Let us check the car or whatever. They're not asking any questions. So the taximan end up talking to them and say, we leave the airport and these are my friends. We know them. And after talking after a while, they end up just going about their business. But so it was no direct reason to pull us over. It wasn't speeding, but
Right.
they saw 4 black people in the car. Oh, I'm looking at it.
In a taxi cab though?
Well, there's no taxi car. I'm
okay.
a regular car I drive, but he's a taxi man. So
Right.
the type of vehicle you drive, they consider like a taxi. So.
Okay, gotcha.
My wife's over to Jamaica right now. She said that they stop her car, search the car, and offer or want to get a little compensation.
Right.
So,
But difference with here is that there's no weapon drawn yet, and if they pull their weapon here,
sometimes. Yeah.
well, true, but most of the time it's mostly a gun. So a rifle is a different situation.
Oh yeah, definitely.
When you're seeing that type of weapon than a regular gun. So
Yeah, it's funny because I've been to like plenty of Caribbean islands and just seeing just a regular police officer just with the M16 rifles and the AR-15s or whatever. It's a little intimidating for sure.
Yeah. So like I said, people, if you just tune into Pillow Talk, we're talking to Mike and Frank on the business and the endeavors about. So one thing you mentioned that you do a lot of charity work.
Yes.
Right. So, and you said you keep some events.
Yes.
And so now do you sponsor these events, or are you the one keeping the actual event? Do you sponsor or you keep the event?
It depends. Sometimes, primarily, I sponsor the events, but usually I would have like a Christmas Toys for Tots event.
Okay.
I haven't had it for the last couple of years because of COVID, but that's definitely something that I plan on bringing back this year. And then in every other situation, I'm usually just a sponsor of someone else's event where I give some money or buy some toys or whatever the case is to.
So now explain to me,
out.
how does that work? Because I've seen a lot of people on flyers, they go, oh, we have the law firm here sponsoring the event, and we understand there's money is being given.
Right.
But what do you gain from sponsoring an event? Because they're not paying you back the money.
No.
Right.
No.
So
what I gain from sponsoring an event is, one, I get to help out either the community or the charity that I'm sponsoring the event to. And 2, I get that recognition that folks see that my firm is actually giving back to the community.
Gotcha.
And the thought and the hope is that that'll go a long way when they think about, when they're in a situation, who they're going to call. Maybe they'll remember, oh, that was the guy that was, giving out toys downtown, or oh, that was a guy that was giving bikes out, or giving turkeys or hams, or whatever the case is.
Stop it!
So that's the benefit. So it's twofold. One, you get to feel good for doing some good for the community, and two, hopefully you get that recognition for your business as well.
Okay. So, are you looking to expand your business from where it is now?
I am. I'm looking to definitely bring on another attorney. At least I have a paralegal that's currently in law school. So I'm trying to wait for her to graduate. She has one more year. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to wait that long. She'll still have a position with
If
the
you're listening
firm,
right now,
but
just
I might be
please
able.
hurry up.
I might have to bring somebody on before then, because I have another business venture that I'm taking part in also that I've started, and that's called the Injury Assistance Network. And what that is basically it's an online provider network for personal injury providers, medical providers, and service providers. So, if you're in an accident and you need to see a chiropractor, and you need, especially for chiros, they need to be in a certain area. They have to be convenient for you to treat, because usually you have to treat like three times a week. And if that chiropractor isn't conveniently located to the provider, to the client, then they don't go. And like I said before, it's very important that they treat. So my website makes it easy for them to find, for attorneys like myself and just the general public, to find quality providers that's going to take care of them and add value to the case, that's located conveniently to where they are.
So you can get them a ride, and you pay for.
They don't even need a ride, because basically, and some of the providers offer rides, but you just go on the site, you choose whatever specialty you're looking for, chiropractic, ortho, or whatever the case is, and then you choose the location that you're looking for as well. So it makes it super easy to find a convenient location.
They need a ride to the chiropractor.
Sometimes the chiros will provide.
Oh, they provide their own transportation.
Yeah.
Oh,
But it still has to be convenient. You don't want to be living over in Pine Hills and have to drive to over by UCF to or get a ride over to UCF to go to treatment. You want it to be convenient within 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, so
Injury
that's
Assistance Network.
injuries. And when is that starting up? Is it started up now?
It's already up.
It's already
Yep.
going?
Yep.
So we can go online right now and
Go online right now and search and find it and look for the different providers.
So what makes you go into that?
Why was because as an attorney, like I said, finding good providers to treat my clients is very important for me.
Okay, right.
To help build the case, take care of the client, and there'll be often times where I'd have a client that lives in a certain area of town, and trying to find that one provider that came into my office like 2 weeks ago and said he was located in that area. By then I've lost the card or misplaced it, and I can't remember who it was. So what I did was just created a website where now I just have to go online, put in location, and choose the specialty, and they'll pop up.
So with you being a lawyer, and was it what practice did you start off to move you into what you're doing now? Was there a certain degree you had to have to become a lawyer to?
You know what? Funny story. So going into college, from high school, my guidance counselor, they had guidance counselors back then, in the 90s. She was like, oh, you want to be a lawyer, you have to major in political science. And I was like, oh, okay, well, then I'll major in political science. Nothing could be farther from the truth.
Oh,
You don't have to major in political science for a law degree to go to law school. You could take a business, marketing, engineering, medical, any field, as long as you do well enough, you can take that and go into law school. I wanted to be a business major, but because of what she stated, and if I wanted to go to law school, I had to do political science. That's what I did. But once I got to law school, I found out, you mean I could have majored in business? Because there's actual business law programs where you can get both your MBA and your law degree at the same time. I didn't know that, and that's one of the things that's so important is just educating the community and letting folks know what opportunities are available to them, especially the youth. I speak at that's another thing that I like to do is speak to the high school students. I've spoken to the elementary school students because a lot of times they're not used to seeing folks like me, like them, that are attorneys or business folks, and it kind of just opens them up to say, "Oh, he did it, I can do it." So,
right, and I would say that's the true statement of everything. We don't pass the knowledge down well enough, or they don't know they can really achieve that. So, in the news maybe a couple months ago, the lawyer was being brought as she was a judge, so now she's the first black judge.
Yes.
And they had the trial for us on the news every day. You know,
Yes.
I think it's probably the first I've ever looked into that. Like, wow, I didn't know they even asked all these questions. So, are you looking eventually to become a judge or looking at
No.
no politics?
Absolutely not. I've got too many skeletons.
All right, well, it closes the door. But why don't we
short
have
answer.
enough? Okay, she's the first black judge, and I don't
First
think
black
there's
Supreme Court judge. Yes.
as a female. Now, what
Yeah,
about
first black female Supreme Court judge?
multiple? I mean, if you even look at the ballots or anything that's with the government, there's not many black people doing it.
Right.
Why do you think that is the case?
Well, it stems from what I said earlier, especially to get into the judicial field or become a justice or a judge. You usually have to be an attorney, and we only make up in the whole nation 5% of the 1 million
Do you
attorneys.
think black people just don't want to do it? They just don't want to be a lawyer. That's something we strive for. We'd rather be playing basketball.
It's not that we don't want to do it. It's that a lot of us aren't privy to the opportunity or don't have the knowledge to even think that it's available or an opportunity for them. One thing that troubles me, troubles might be a strong word, but black women are kicking butt. They're more likely to go to college. They're more likely to become lawyers and doctors and engineers than black men. What are we doing as black men where our women are just far surpassing us? We should be right alongside them. I don't know. Even with my son, I'm trying to instill in him the fact that you have to take care of your priorities, focus on your school, and do all the things that you need to do to be successful. Whereas, just women in general, they just seem to, especially black women in general, they just seem to have that innate. It's just part of them. They just go out there and do it. You don't really have to tell them as much. And I don't know if it's because, us men are slow to mature, but it's kind of night and day. I mean, and it's across the nation.
Now, do you think it's because of sports? Like we men feel it's easier to get through the sports we are,
It's really not,
naturally have
though.
this-
It's really not. I mean, to become a professional athlete,
Right.
1%, that's who makes it. I mean, everybody has aspirations, but the truth of the matter is that only 1% become an NBA player. And I don't know what percentage of them become like top notch, like a LeBron James or a Steph Curry or something. So what I think is that we get a little enamored with the fast money or the what we see on social media, and think that it's easy. And what I tell folks is that, especially the youth, is that anything that's worth anything is going to require hard work. It's going to be whether it's becoming a doctor or attorney or a construction worker. It's all hard work. Ain't no getting around it. You're gonna have to work hard if you want to be successful. There's no getting around it. Working hard doesn't necessarily mean you're doing manual labor, but you have to put your heart into it. You have to do the things that you need to do that while other people are sleeping. You need to be focused on the task at hand and making sure that you do what you need to do to become successful.
So when you speak to the schools, because you say you go to the schools sometimes and speak at, now do you said most of would you speak at the high school graduation? I mean,
no, like I've spoken at like career days. Spoken at like Oak Ridge High School, and it's sometimes hard, and I have a young son also, so it's kind of hard to get through to penetrate their exterior. They put on like a real hard facade that, you know, they either don't care or they too cool or whatever the case may be, and trying to penetrate that so that they understand that, look, this is your life and your future that we're talking about. You need to actually focus and think about what it is you're going to do with your life. A lot of times they think, oh, you're being corny or you know, whatever the case may be, but hopefully they'll come around.
so you mentioned your children, so you gave them the talk about, I mean, they saw your profession, they've grown up seeing you doing this.
Right.
So it is achievable in their eyes.
Right.
And
do they want it though?
do they want? I mean, does anyone want to go into politics, or they want to become lawyers like you? I see you said business.
As of now, not yet. Not yet. I'm still holding out hope. But no one is saying, Dad, I want to be a lawyer. My son was like, nah, you shuffle too much paperwork. I don't want to do any
So
of that.
it's not cool enough.
Right, it's not cool
So
enough.
that's the
Right,
problem. It doesn't
right.
seem cool.
Yeah.
Oh my
He's
God.
all about cool.
Well, people, if you're just tuning in, we've been talking to Mike and Frank over here. Frank is the new investigator portion on the team. He just joined in recently. So if you need a lawyer to defend, if you slip and fall, if you got hit, even if it was 3 days ago,
Oh yeah.
give this guy.
We
If
can
it's
help.
3 years ago, nobody call him. It's
Right,
all right.
yeah.
They can
And
help
do we get
out.
the phone number on the screen?
Yeah. No.
321-234-2900.
That's the number to call.
Injury Assistance Law Firm.
And you guys are on Instagram also. What's the
Instagram, Injury Assistance 14 on Instagram, and on Facebook. If anybody still use Facebook,
Everybody depend on that.
Yeah.
Injury Assistance on Facebook, and on Twitter, Injury Assist 14.
Okay, so reach out to these people. They said the big people can do it, and they can do it better.
There we go.
Yeah. And what was the motto that you guys are going with?
Hard work, heart, and hustle.
Hard work, hard work. So, I'm going to be looking on the billboards to see if you guys, because a lot of lawyers I see are on the benches for the
How much do those cost?
Depends on the location. I've had billboards. I recently got rid of mine because just having 2 billboards is tough to compete with a firm that has 80.
Right.
I'd rather just kind of divert my money or focus my money
Right.
on what works.
Right.
So
bus benches, no?
bus benches I've thought about. Also the buses I've thought about, but right now I have like a Google marketing campaign going, and that's been working pretty well. So
Okay.
that's what I'm doing.
Wednesdays and stuff like that. Wind down Wednesdays. What else you usually
Maybe we could do a bus.
Yeah, we are going to do a bus. We need to make a lawyer
Pillow Talk
money.
Bus.
Yeah, you should.
We can
Pillow
drive the
Talk
bus.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
We can
you
drive the bus.
imagine?
We can drive the bus, but we can't put no
We
picture
could
on the
do a
bus.
picture on the bus.
All right. She will do that.
Yeah,
He
I'll
just
support it.
he
We
says,
got a sponsor.
No, I didn't say I'll sponsor it. I said I'll support.
Frank, over here, sponsor, right?
I didn't hear that. Did not hear that.
He's with me.
Frank, we trying to buy you off, Frank. Come on, man. Help us out over here. Well, people, I would say thank you for joining in to Pillow Talk. General, it's been great talking to you guys.
Great talking to you.
We've got a lot of knowledge. Shelly's gonna go home and check our policy right now.
I am.
Do. Yes,
I
yes.
have uninsured motors.
You do.
Just because I said if somebody hit me, I need my car fixed. I wasn't thinking.
Okay.
I wasn't.
Okay.
I didn't understand what you said.
Okay,
That is for
okay.
if I'm in the hospital.
Right.
I figured if they have no insurance, I'm fucked.
Right.
So let me get something.
Oh, we
to
could cuss on her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
so-
Oh, man.
Stop it, calm down.
I figured that that's what it was for, but
Yes,
they didn't really
absolutely.
explain it to me then. That it's only for.
They usually don't. They usually
He
don't.
said, "You want your car fixed?" I said, "Yeah, get that. That's okay. Get that."
Yeah,
But he's lying to me.
He didn't look.
He's
So
lying
many
today.
times,
I
those
feel
those
good today.
the agents on the phone, they don't know what the policies are or what the coverage are.
I swear it was that, you know.
Yeah, they don't.
So
know.
hold on. If she hits me, she takes off and drive. What fixes my car? Because the insurance I have is to fix their
Collision coverage.
But
You
is
have collision.
No, your full coverage will fix your car.
And don't
Absolutely.
okay, let's get away from saying full coverage. Because full coverage doesn't mean you have collision coverage. Full coverage, like I said, only means you have PIP, personal injury protection coverage, and property damage coverage. With just those two coverages, if she hits you and takes off and you don't have collision coverage,
But
you
my,
are
my car is my property. So if I have property
damage is for the other person's
Oh,
vehicle that you injured, that you damaged.
Let's
So if you damage
renew-
somebody else's property, your property damage coverage fixes their property that you damaged. If they take off, or if you take off when you damage their property and they don't have collision coverage, they out of gas.
so if I hit a tree by accident because I'm texting and driving, I might.
That's
not me per
comprehensive
se.
coverage.
That's what?
Comprehensive.
So much.
Too much.
Too much.
Yeah, collision is between vehicles. Comprehensive is everything else.
So if we have
Comprehensive
nothing,
is usually under full coverage.
forget
no,
full
no,
coverage.
no,
He said
no,
forget
no.
full word. He said there's collision, PIP, PIP. That's pimping, right? Or something.
Yeah. Collision, PIP, property damage, uninsured motorist coverage,
Too much.
rental reimbursement, road service, all
It's
that.
a lot.
It's a lot, but you know, if
Just
if-
bump up your policy just a
call,
little bit.
Feel free to call me. I'll go through it with you.
And let me tell them that number again because they only listen to me. when I
321.
talk. I'm
Oh,
gonna
okay,
say because
okay,
they only
go
listen
ahead,
to
my
me when
bad.
I speak.
There you go. Go, let them know. Tell them. Michael Mills.
321-234-2900. He also got his cell phone number here, guys. The cell phone number
Go ahead.
Don't put the man.
479639467.
He doesn't after
That's a married man, guys.
Frank will be answering the call after that time.
Frank
It goes-
answers that
yeah,
call.
it rolls
He
over
has
to his
two
number.
locations. One location is in Orlando, 823 North Thornton Avenue, and the other one is in Winter Haven, 23rd Street Southwest, Suite 302, Winter Haven, Florida.
And if you're listen, this is the most important part I'm gonna say right now. If you are we're referring you, you call and say, hey, Mike, we saw
10%
Pillow Talk.
discount.
We saw Pillow Talk, and we'd like to get you to be our attorney.
And it goes to
Pillow Talk need
our
at least
bus.
1%, just the 1%.
Yes, and we put it towards the bus.
Put it that
Oh,
out.
you put it towards the-
Put it on the bus. We want our billboard on the bus.
That's right.
Well, I said, thanks for tuning in, Frank. How they can they reach you? Same number, same everything.
It's not me. You're trying to call the law
right.
firm exactly.
Yeah.
I'm just a,
Well, they
Call-
can still go to Frank Mills 85, and then
Right, there you
you'll let
Yeah,
them know how to get to
Frank
there.
Mills 85. That's my personal. When I was doing hair,
Oh,
I'm out of the hair business
out of
now.
the-
completely.
fmills@injuryassistance.org.
Yes.
Frank is a great barber, guys.
He is. He absolutely is. He's one of the best.
Yes, he is.
He was.
Hook me up.
Was.
He
still
can
is.
still
He
do it.
still
You
is.
just
Was.
don't want to. You can
Right.
still
He
do
still
it.
is. Yeah.
Was.
He get those eyebrows
Shelly, tell him the
right,
thanks,
too.
and
Eyebrows, everything. He's cut my
the
hair, all
goatee,
that. He's
yeah.
got.
Frank did all that?
He does all
all
that.
that.
I mean, he's
That's back in-
relaxed.
that's
He relaxes.
back-
He
oh, yeah.
goes
That's
back in the day,
Color,
He does it all
color,
color.
yeah, that's
He
shit.
does it all. I just think you don't put in a weave. You don't put it in.
Nah,
I've done all that. Yes, I've done all that.
Oh,
We've.
Well, he never put him in my weave.
weave
But
color,
yeah,
all
he
that
did a lot. He
But that was
did
back
Oh, I
in-
know.
a lot of hair.
Shall I tell him over
I'll
the
be
link?
right after at the shop.
Tell him over. Tell him the exit.
The exit.
Exit. It's Pillow Talk.
It's Pillow Talk, guys. Good night. Don't forget to like, share,
Like, subscribe.
and
Big up the
comment.
attorneys, yeah. And follow them. Follow these people over here.
And follow them. And we'll be posting it on Instagram.
Yeah,
so
you got
go to our Instagram to get more information again. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Guys.